Hello, welcome. This is the Daily Dharma. My name is Deana. Thank you so much for joining in. If you're new here, I welcome you especially to this rabbit hole. You never know what's about to pop out. We're going to start with the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle deck and see what comes out. These are the code cards for the messages that the powers that we most want to relay today. First card popping out today, same as yesterday, solar plexus chakra, the will center, the authority, autonomy, our creative spark, allowance. Nice. Allowance is all in how we don't stand in our own way, don't engage resistance. Under the deck we have Merkaba. And coming out, we have prosperity and our beliefs around finance and prosperity and whether we think it's only in the material, spiritual, a mix. Let's see. Anything else under the deck? More chakras, sacral and root chakra with empowerment. So empowering those lower chakras is feeling more secure, more steady, more realistic, taking practical measures and witnessing yourself doing that, and witnessing a dynamic flow of things back to you, emerging into the physical when you tap into that inner magic. So Merkaba under the deck here is generally relating to the field of energy that surrounds you, more than just your auric energy that is magnetized around you and your perspectives that emanate from you. Your Merkaba is also the ability for yourself in your accumulated awareness to experience, integrate, and explore all of the dimensions of this time and space, of your personal and subjective experiences, contrasted and juxtaposed against those experiences and perspectives and ideals and complaints of the general outer and that elusive other that is really just another us. Very nice. So our prosperity comes through shifting our beliefs around other people's personal self-autonomy and independent, unique, creative flow, whether we judge that to be good, bad, or ugly. Everybody is choosing for their own path, and even though some of those choices interact and intermingle with our own, we need to definitely always maintain clarity that we can never force another person's process. We can influences it in various ways, but it's not for us to pay attention to those things as much as we feel that it is. Of course, we need to create a sense of guidance and directions for those that are under our charge, like children when they're young. But I mean, especially my child is right about at the adolescent age where there's this push and pull energy as she's exploring more of the dimensions of her own experience, which no matter how much influence she receives from myself and other mentors and authority figures in her life, her accumulated experience is still juxtaposed against what she sees to be her personal best expression. And that's why parents sometimes lose the plot with their children. And the children, they're not devoid of fault, but we're not wrong. That's an interesting thing. So we've had a lot of information coming through about the way that we govern other individuals and the appropriate use of our energy. So here we are traveling down that taproot into the resistance stage. Like, okay, like how about this? Our personal ideas and social judgments that were imposed on us have skewed even our perfected alliance and alignment within ourselves. And as we resolve those things and recognize that we're all sovereign here and all we can do is give other people parameters and boundaries where my energy ends and yours begins, you're responsible for the repercussions of your actions. Right? That discipline reward idea is coming through today. But there's this, when we allow ourselves to really dig deep into our own motives and our own social judgments and our own ability to give ourselves permission to explore what we want, what we need, what we wish to create versus what we're allowing ourselves to manifest, what we're allowing into our lives that may insult the soul even from time to time. Even if that's a distant past or a once-off situation. And it could be that inner saboteur there that's not allowing your excellence to pop through. Maybe your parents were super, or your leadership figures were extremely preoccupied with social acceptance or with religious moral judgments. And there can be a sense of being cut off from the curiosities that are trying to sparkle in front of our eyes, to capture our attention, to lead us away from karmic loops into dynamic spirals of new explorations. That's what I'm getting from this prosperity card, that prosperity lies somewhat, it's not all that glitters is gold, it's that if something truly captivates your attention and calls you forth to it, it's because there's a synchronicity in there. It's trying to draw your attention away from maybe a path that leads to nowhere, to take this path less traveled, this path of individuation and unique mission, sense of purpose, destiny, and allowing that guidance. It's like that will-o'-the-wisp card that reminds me of the Brave story, the animated Disney, where they have that young Merida she's just kind of captivated by these little wispy essences, and she begins to follow them, and they lead her into her destiny, for better or for worse. And the judgment of what is good and what is bad is often what keeps us from taking great risks. But some of these great risks bring great reward. I'm not telling you to sink your whole nest egg in the stock market and take that kind of risk. You have to make an educated guess. Right now the stock market is pretty chaotic and pretty volatile. But however, when things plummet and they do have a sustainable legacy of profitability, investing when the market is crap is often when you can get in for rock bottom prices. And then when the market returns on the upward loop, which it always goes down one way and back up the other, then maybe you'll make your fortune. But then again, who's to say that the whole entire market wouldn't crash? There are some that say that that's the way it's going. So you need to take your own best judgment on that. We just had the wind knocking a couple cards off the table. I'm going to go ahead and grab those. Don't mind the shaking. Sending a message, trying to impress you. So this could have come through a couple of different ways, of course, as we're all on different time frames, but somebody may have sensed something that was less than impressive because they hadn't taken the pause, that deep quiet, to really contemplate and connect with their truth, and they became swayed by something else. They allowed someone else's authority to eclipse their own belief system and correct judgment, blocked their own prosperity and abundance and blessings. And now with Merkaba, there's an expansion of this truth. So somebody's making this big shift. And first off the deck here we have Moon Maiden with new beginnings. So yes, I'm seeing this mostly though as the allowance of expansion, the allowance of an acceptance of the depth of self and what makes you special, what makes you unique beyond any confirming validation from anyone outside of ourselves. There's a new beginning here where this individual with this moon energy that's so prominent right now between that Taurian and Scorpio axis, she's floating up under that enormous moon, and she's about to come up through another layer of veiled reality. Her eyes are closed and it appears that she's underwater, but it's also just stars. So definitely someone is releasing resistance, tapping into their gut intuition, expanding their field of awareness, healing themselves, and integrating their sense of alchemical well-being. So we talked about that lead into gold. It often comes through mercurial correspondence and vibration, where we're at, and the corresponding actions and belief structures that we foster come back to us. That's law of attraction. And Mercury talks about expression, beliefs that are the precursor to thought, which are the precursor to action, which are the precursor to the materialization of whatever we're focused on. 1, 2, 3, 4, as we said that. What's next up there? Oops, that's the wrong side. So under that, as I was just looking, under Deep Quiet, we have In the Hand, Universe is your partner. So let's go ahead and give us a good shuffle again. I'm going to make sure that we're letting all the cards come out. I still haven't seen every card in this deck. Nice. 2 more popping out. All that good. Garden of Venus, rest and renewal under the deck. There's definitely a need to connect deeply with outside, with nature. I'm seeing a hummingbird and a lot of flowers and a heart hanging in the balance from a snail shell. Talking about that spiraling up energy, rest and renewal, allowing yourself to let your attention leave behind the things that are false evidence appearing real. I'm hearing that acronym for fear. False evidence appearing real. Okay, the 2 cards popping out, 59, Whale and Tree, reconciliations with the cosmic womb, the divine feminine, number 6 in this deck. So 6 corresponds to the number in the major arcana of the tarot, that is the Lover's card. Gemini influence, which is also mercurial, but it's about soul contracts and commitments, and yeah, I want to say soul contracts. We had that issue yesterday. And cosmic womb, not necessarily, some of you, this definitely could be some family issues surrounding the mother or a grandmother, some type of feminine matriarchal influence or belief structure that has permeated your upbringing. And that wailing tree in the middle that comes out with it, I don't know if this is a grief cycle for you, but reconciliations, it does feel like something going on in the family where a lot of tempers and individual personalities have crashed. Oh, an interesting little spider is crawling around on the camera. Little jumpy dude. If he comes for me, guys, you're my witness. No, just kidding. Spiders are really awesome creatures, just as long as they're not crawling on me. Wailing tree, yes. Reconciliation, this may not have gone as well as it could have. There's a lot of deep healing that is still necessary between all of the individuals that are feeding into the situation, but there's some type of soul contract, definitely a fabric of reality that's stitching you all together with this tree energy. But I'm seeing it just burning down, like the things. Okay, this guy's got to go somewhere. See him? There he is. Oh. Alright. So, yes, this is burning like a phoenix energy is what I'm feeling. It's like the soul contract is being... Oh, like I keep talking about somebody may want to write everything out in every detail that was hurtful, take all the accountability that you can and release and forgive as best you can, and then maybe burning that letter. It's as though you're able to, through this, release it, accept the lessons, and then burn it down. Once you learn the lessons, you don't need to keep opening that box again. You know what's in it. It's no longer your present tense. You can maybe you can upcycle that through transmutation and share that gift with others. What you make of that awful gift or that faulty offer is what you take forward, and that is what's left in your hand to provide out to others. Behind Garden of Venus Rest and Renewal, behind this self-care is a vanishing mirror, ego sublimation, talking about through this reflection and accountability, shattering the illusion that you need to continue to feed into something that is not yours to handle. Or, some people that always try to push their point with somebody you can't hear. Yeah, we'll stop there with that. Let's move on to this. So, 1752. Sending a message, trying to impress you. So I'm feeling like that whoever sent this message, and this has even happened to me recently with a couple of scenarios. One, someone who's basic stranger, a professional relationship, and another with somebody who should be someone you would assume would be on your side traditionally, right? And so there's that element of someone is thinking that they're awfully impressive by switching around facts, perhaps by using their energy in the wrong way. And with allowance card in that situation, it looks as though there's an element of tolerance of this behavior in the past and allowance for it to recreate in your current life that is now being put to rest. I have a couple proffers on that. Taking a chance, we talked about taking a risk. Mars is energy of starting again, and Mars is right just past Neptune, just about to move into home sign of Aries, where Mars will be fired up to express, to pursue, to chase their dreams, to make some changes in their lives. And I often tell people that setting intentions around the time where the sun moves from Pisces, when the sun moves from one calendar year to the next, is never as efficient as when Mars moves into Aries. When Mars moves into Aries, that's your Mars pushing into its home sign, and then there's always a caveat. If you have challenging placements there, it wouldn't seem as easy, but moving on. Extrovert coming out next. Yeah, with that individuation, there's a need for someone to recognize that they've been gestating long enough, they've been in their chrysalis long enough, and it's time to come out of that state and to express themselves more clearly, to take a chance, reach for the goal, reach for the raise, ask for what you deserve, ask for what you want in this situation. Third eye chakra says that there may be an element of you not believing in something, having some type of doubt or disclarity, somebody creating some disclarity. I did see G.O.A.T on the bottom of the deck before I started switching that. So, are you the greatest of all time? You are highly protected and favored by the divine. So take a chance to stick up for yourself, take a chance to level up, to allow your prosperity to come through. Maybe showing people the wisdom that you hold, that spiritual authority, allowing that to be channeled through. But keep it simple, coming out next. There may still be some lower vibe entities, lower attachments in this situation, whether that's on your person, around your third eye, other people's influences coming through. There's so many varied ways to keep ourselves clear. You may look at doing some binaural beats. Drumming is a great way to conjure your own power and invoke that you be protected. Instant attraction. How beautiful it is for you to remain silent when another anticipates your rage. You inspire me. There's been an unequal giving and sharing in the past, overcompensation for other people's inequities. And then Libra is coming out, so that is justice card right there, and this may involve somebody with the sign of Libra. But sometimes that can talk about the element of social approval and people pleasing, rather than being willing to stick up for yourself and receive your blessings. True North, I feel you are my destiny. So as you stand up for yourself, you're moving into a new energy, falling for your heart, but intensity does not equal intimacy. There's a karmic cycle passing here, and possibly the feminine is in a cycle of maturing away from mood swings, drama, and getting out of hermitage for a change. Cut cords and release with anything that causes tension, unless that's the good kind of tension that can be experienced on a conscious level, of course, right? 6666 confirms that there's some balance needed in this situation. And Heyoka Empath with an Aries on the bottom of the deck here wasn't at their best at learning lessons. So, yeah, somebody expected you to mirror back to them the rage that they approached you with, and that didn't fly, and somebody's impressed with your ability to maintain your clarity, even though they wanted you to believe in the mask or the rage or the bullying. They were trying to, I'm hearing, usurp your power, to appropriate your power, misappropriate your power. Call of the dancing crane. There's also an element of the copycat coming through. Oh, very interesting. Look at these two. Okay, so this also is switching the message a little bit for me here. So these two individuals look so similar. They're in the exact same pose. One is a little more seeming gentle and in this quieter, repose, muted template, where it's kind of like they're more etheric, less materialized, less clear, more muddy. And then the other one is so crisp and clear, and the details on the flowers are evident, and her hair is beautifully pinned up. Even her instrument is better formed, and she's looking happy and excited. So we could draw a couple conclusions from this. It may be Empress versus Priestess energy, the element of comparison of energy. It may be twin sisters, twin feminines, sisters. In other ways, it's the 4 and the 22. That's so interesting. 22 is a master number, and they're not normally reduced, but 2 plus 2 is obviously 4. And you'll see the halo around this muted form. It's like the you that is seeming so crisp and clear, like, oh, this is the materialized sense of self here, and that Heyoka empath that says, oh, everything's fine, I'm laughing, but there's still more enlightenment coming through, and it's growing and changing and kind of melting away. I'm not sure what is first or second, if it's a progression, but there's a lot of clarity coming through, but then there's this also element of release. It's like the figure 8 that keeps coming through, and that's below that Princess of the Autumn Harvest. 10 Sisters of Light. So I didn't bring that Kuan Yin book out, but Princess of the Autumn Harvest talks about having planted the seeds, having nurtured those seeds and the seedlings, having done what we could to make the best of those situations and waiting it out patiently, and taking every opportunity to tend to our inner garden of Venus through rest and renewal of spirit and everything else that comes through that. And then Call of the Dancing Crane. This is like a mating dance, so it's also this twinning energy of soulmates that's coming through, where because of this ability to recognize and to receive and allow those rewards, blessings of prosperity, spiritual jewels and pearls of wisdom, allowing those to shift your energy in such a way that the grace and refinement of your movement is its own mating dance, and it calls to you the situations that you actually desire. That's really beautiful where you're going here. So, okay. Let's see. Something from the Kali deck. Because there's definitely somebody here that keeps popping into these readings and challenging the love and light aspect of us. And so there's this self-protection and lucidity that comes through, and Kelly gets a bad rap, but it's that inner restlessness that tells us that there's something that doesn't quite add up about where we've been and about the values that we've assigned to the ego versus the values we've assigned to our beautiful spiritual temple, that inner gem that makes us so valuable in the life. Underneath the deck, 15, Mahavidya, having on her altar the tongue of the enemy that's been cut out, meditation beads, the lotus of enlightenment, and a blood moon, total eclipse I'm hearing from just recently. And here she is in that similar posture. Again, isn't that amazing? My battery's going low. Okay, let's see if we can get it out. Maintain my battery. Our Divine Mother, who knows all, with every answer and every mystery within her power to disclose, provides knowledge at the right time and in the best way. An answer to your question shall be provided. Do not immediately dismiss intuitions that are unexpected, or lead you into unknown territory. Rest and reflect upon your insight, allowing your wisdom rather than a reaction still their usefulness and value. An entirely new perspective about a matter of importance is awakening. A secret shall be revealed, and all you need to know will be given to you. So you're exposing something for the highest possible good, and I do believe that my battery is about to end, but that is the ending of the video. So if this resonates, you know what to do. Help out to keep the business going, like, share, subscribe, comment below to validate and see if ownership of